welcome to another episode of the Whiplash Exosuit armor build. In this one I'm going to talk to you about how I've started working on the arms. One thing I'll tell you, get yourself a regular tablet. This will be your best friend. Write down every idea, every measurement, because after a few days you'll find out that all of this will be filled up. No. Whenever I started making my frames for my armor, you can spend all day and waste your money and use basic flat steel to make prototypes out of everything using basic guesswork, which this is just basic flat steel that you can make them out of. It's kind of sturdy, especially once you get it assembled. But this thing's $7 each. I would say roughly to build one for an arm, you're going to need about 4 or 5 of these. That equals up to a lot of money, especially if you do it wrong. So that's why I recommend you go to your local paint or hardware store and grab you paint stirrers. They won't really work very well for final product, but it will give you the opportunity to kind of test and see your different measurements to where it would work for your body. Like for this build, as you can see, I've made 2 of them, one for the inside, one for the outside, and you can see they're fully bendable. No, the way that I did it was I measured from the top of the bicep where your shoulder meets, and I measured it all the way down to where I believe the cutoff would be on your wrist. And then I would kind of guess about right in here where I was going to put the anchor for the pivot point. And then I just measured them and I cut them to size and I made them out of these paint stirrers. And then once I actually had that, take your paint stirrers, however you did them, and then you just put them up to your arms. That way you can kind of measure, guess, make sure that they would work. And then to make sure you get a good feel of what they both would look like, just get yourself some basic masking tape that you would find in the same department. And then you can take both of these and you can tape them together on your arms so that way you can get a good feel to see how exactly it would work for your arm. And then once that was done and you were comfortable with the way that felt, then you can go through and you can prototype it into the flat steel, which I'll show you a couple different versions I've made. This first version, calling it Mark 1, I actually kind of built it, say, I don't know, year and a half ago. It was going to be one for a different project, which it still might be. This is just basic. I thought I would try to make the actual joints out of Lazy Susans, so that way they're ball bearing, so that way they're free roll. And you can see the tube that I've run through here. That was going to be some basic tubing for some wire work. And this little handle here, just easy for transportation, and so that way I can see how it actually would hold on to it. But as you can see, it functions just fine, but it's still kind of bulky for the Whiplash armor, so I believe I'll save this design for a later build, and trust me, there's going to be a later build. So I'll show you the beginning part of the Mark II that I was working with. This one I probably came up about 6-7 months ago, which I didn't completely finish yet. This one was designed so I could basically see how I could get it to anchor to the hand, so that way you can get a basic hand plate. But like I said, it's easier to do it out of popsicle sticks than this, because now I can see where I went wrong with this one. Because to get the maximum amount for your rotation, your arm would actually have to be about right there, which is cut off by these cutoffs. If I try to move, it's just going to jab me in the arm, and that's not acceptable. So with a little tinkering, this one can probably suffice for a later build, but I think it's going on the back burner. So now I'll show you the completed version of the right arm, the Mark III. This one I believe will work for the Whiplash armor build. It's sturdy. That doesn't have the Lazy Susans in it. It's just basically bolted here. This comes up to where, like I said, the bicep meets the shoulder. You got yourself a basic elbow guard, and it also acts as a stop because it won't go any farther than that because of this plate, which is good in case you hit something or something hits your arm. You don't want to end up breaking your arm. And it's a lot thinner and more compact than what the first Mark I was, so that way it'll give you better momentum. See, now that one's just fine. It's light, it's easy to use. So this one here will work. I'm going to start making the next side of it now for the left arm, but for this one here, if you look at the Whiplash armor, it's got like a cylinder that goes from the top of the shoulder to the spine of the back. For that, I'm actually going to have to add another piece of metal straight up through here, and then I'm going to anchor another piece going straight back, probably about 8-10 inches, and then to the left a little bit, so I can put a ball joint on the end of it, so I can just hook it up to a basic pneumatic cylinder, and then I'll run it from the point to the back, so that way it'll actually have the means of holding it up. And then as for the whips that you've seen previously, in the original armor, he had them mounted. I'm thinking about doing the same thing, so that means I will have to fashion a bracket to put on the end here where the wrist is, and find a means to actually connect it to the handle of the whips itself. But like I said, this one's good, strong, and this is just the frame. Once I put some actual metal around it, which I think it's going to look pretty good. It's going to be nice and sturdy. After I'm going to finish completing the left arm, and then I'm going to start working on the back support. So then that way I can focus on anchoring the 2 points from the shoulder to the back, so that way it's starting to complete. But like I said, this is a good project. I enjoy it. I think everybody else will too. Like the video, subscribe to the channel, tell your friends, and as always, I'm just getting started, and the best is yet to come. Thanks for watching.